was, we're going to save it.
I'll save it.
I suppose the question is, at this time of year, there's always a crunch in the NHS, you know, for more illnesses, more deaths at this time of year. The question is, you know, this booster programme was trumpeted 5 weeks ago. We've heard nothing at all through. I mean, who even knows her name? In the sense, has she been for the last 5 weeks? They've been caught out asleep on the... And the debate you're having there is about Plan B, isn't it?
Yeah.
We see numbers increasing. And in fact, the latest numbers are of infections. As I said, Thursday was the big day, wasn't it, last week, when everybody was like, it's the... And now, actually, in the Telegraph, saying yesterday infections dropped below 40,000 for the first time in 12 days. And deaths dropped to 72. And I suppose the barometer for whether we go to Plan B is this idea. I don't really know what unsustainable means for the NHS. What is that number?
Big event. So we got to
NHS who have not yet had the vaccine for whatever their reasons are, ethical, moral, fear. They just don't, you know, whatever. Staff who haven't had any vaccine yet. This idea that either have it or go and find yourself another job.
Or get moved to... I think everybody...
If he's on the front line.
Short of...
It's our job. She hadn't actually done a single broadcast.
And we're back in harness together. Hello.
We are. Hello. And we both told each other rather spooky stories this morning in honour of Dick and Dom, which kind of came out the blue this morning.
Everybody's got a ghost story. If you prod them, I saw something very strange.
I've got one. It's all very peculiar.
To do with your dad, your late father?
To do with my dad, yeah. It's all very odd, but
Mine was a face at a window.
Don't say too much.
A white face staring from a window. It's very odd. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Listen, as we said in the opening remarks there, we may have good news for you this morning. It's not sort of copper-bottomed yet, but the Daily Telegraph front-page story, picked up by a lot more news outlets as we speak, are saying that COVID cases are going to slump soon. They're going to kind of go off the cliff. And we may have as few as maybe 5,000 cases a day come Christmas, which is nothing. And they're rapidly becoming friend-stroke-enemy herd immunity. That's what seems to be kicking in. And the models, which the Telegraph report the Cabinet have seen, these famous models, are predicting hard information. You inundated us, actually, with tweets and messages saying that although you were technically OK to get the booster, you were past your 6 months point, you just couldn't get it. Yeah. You were going online and registering, and you were being told, no, you're not eligible yet. But you were like maybe 7 months past your second. And we had one woman calling in about her husband, who's now 8 months past his second jab. He desperately needs the booster, but when they logged on, he was told that he was not eligible yet. So the system seems to be broken. Could you send us more messages if you're having trouble getting your booster booked, either using the phone or going online? If you're having trouble doing it and yet you are eligible, and we'll put those stories to Sajid when he comes on a bit later in the show. Because of course he said last week, with a bit of a big finger wave, he said you will lose your living. Dr. Samir, Dr. Amir is on the line. He's completely at this point. A totally different story. Mariana Sping is the BBC's disinformation and social media reporter, and she's the committee tomorrow. You've done a great job, actually. That sometimes when a troll is prosecuted because they've stepped way over the red line, they've sent a true hate crime or a death threat, they almost always end up crying in court. Yeah, they almost always end up blubbing in the docks. And I didn't mean it. Yeah. And actually, I do think, just very, very quickly, that's the case. In a sentence, a lot of the time, they don't realise what they're doing, do they?
Giving your evidence to MPs, let's hope they listen. Andrew, we've got Sajid Javid, we've got Keir Starmer, who's here in the studio too, so many questions to put to both of them this morning. Do let us know what you think about being mandated to have it if you work for the NHS, what you think about whether you can get the COVID
if you can get the booster when you're entitled to it, are you having trouble getting it?
Exactly.
Let us know.
That's the second state for me, please. The 19th century.
All that to come. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
Very interesting. 10 minutes after asking you to tell us if you're having trouble getting your booster books, we are inundated with people saying exactly that. Claire,
absolutely.
She says, I'm now 7 months since my second jab. I keep trying to book a booster, but the system tells me I'm not eligible, and I am.
And it's 6 months, the gap, isn't it, between your second,
and
it may even be reduced to 5 months. Ross on email, I've been trying to book a booster online for the past 2 weeks. I'm told I'm not eligible. I'm 74 and had my second dose in April, so if that doesn't make you eligible, I'm not sure what does.
We could spend all morning reading these. I'll just do one more for now. We'll be putting these to the Minister in an hour or two, because this system is clearly broken. It's not working. HB on Twitter says, my mum's clinically extremely vulnerable and has had a letter and a text inviting her for her booster, but she just can't book it online. They keep telling her that she's not eligible.
And it's all very well having a campaign saying, go and get your booster jab,
or lose your liberties.
Launched. Yes, exactly. But if you can't actually get in to get your jab, and the GPs are saying, look, we're trying to do the flu jab, we're trying to do face-to-face meetings, because that's what Sajid Javid wants us to do now. The question is how on earth you get your booster jab, and if you don't get it, then what happens to Plan B?
Well, I think I have the answer to that. You get a czar back, one person whose sole job it is.
Well, there is
to
somebody, Maggie Throop.
Have you seen her give an interview?
I haven't.
Have you seen it anywhere?
Last Friday, 5 weeks into interview,
well,
and of course Nadeem Zawi was always on the airwaves.
I think we need Nadeem back. Bring him
question
back.
For government, but yeah, the question is, of course, if you're do let us know. We need as much evidence really from you this morning about this COVID booster jab, because Sajid Javid, of course, and the messaging from government is millions more should go and get it. Well, how do you get it is the question this morning.
Get it or else is what he was saying, basically, and people are trying and they can't. So keep telling us. This list goes on and on and on. Right, let's cheer ourselves up. Competition time. It's your chance to win 90 grand in tax-free cash and, just for the heck of it, a brand new BMW. Here's Andy with all the details. and maybe some other presences. You never know.
Oh. BAFTA-winning children's TV host Dick and Dom have swapped the bungalow for a spooky adventure as they take on celebrity ghost trip to celebrate their 25th anniversary. What a strange way to... Most people...
Why not? Tell you my recent one. I was sitting in the garden in the summer, having a little doze after doing the morning show. Woke up, everything's fine, looking at the paper, and I just had an instinct to look up.
Maybe a bit too much for half term.
Right,
It was after my dad died. My mum said she definitely saw him at the window.
Right.
So did you believe in ghosts?
He would, you know, tie them to a chair and go, he's
Celebrate 25 years in the business, isn't it? I mean,
Okay. Good Morning Britain is back tomorrow from 6. Now it's time for Christine on the Rain.